Hello, friends. What is up? Welcome back to the Divinely Human Podcast. My name is Stephanie. If you've been here before, it is so great to have you back. If you haven't been here before, hey, what's up? My name's Steph. Thanks so much for stopping by. Today, we are talking about the importance of never diminishing who you are for the opinions of others. And I feel like a lot of the time we do that because it feels more comfortable to us to feel like we belong and we're included and we're supported. Because us as a human race, we long for that inclusion. We long to feel belonging. And a lot of the time when we're going through a spiritual awakening or we're honestly just like owning who we are and inhabitantly being ourselves, it's so easy to like be like, but no one's here to support me and no one's here to back me. And sometimes that feels lonely, and I feel like if you're in a spot in your life where you're just like, fuck it, I'm gonna go after my dreams, I'm gonna pursue the things I want to pursue, and I'm gonna live my life for me. When you start to go down that path, you start to realize how lonely that is. And I can attest to that on a personal level. I feel like a lot of the time the things I talk about and the things that I share with the world aren't the most widely accepted opinions, and although more of the collective is awakening to their truth, whatever that be for them, whether it be spirituality, whether it be any other form of belonging that they see, I find that like more people are waking up and becoming a spiritual being and realizing that they are a divine being living a temporary human experience. But at the same time, I live in a very small, conservative, kind of blue-collar town. You know what I mean? Like, where I'm from is very, like, in the old ways. And I'm not going to say that's a bad thing. Like, every environment that you find yourself in, like, has its own kind of je ne sais quoi, I'll say. Like, it has its own thing going for it. And, like, this is the environment I grew up in. Like, this is what's normal to me. But at the end of the day, like the esoteric things that I choose to speak about and how I choose to kind of present my ideas is very different to a lot of like the older generations here. And I'm still seeing in my everyday life, like people are just kind of sticking to the status quo, like going to school, getting a job, finding that stability, even if it's not exactly what makes them happy. And I, for one, know now that like I can't live a life that I'm not emotionally fulfilled with. I've tried to go down like the whole 9 to 5 sell my soul to capitalism type energy, and I'm not even saying this in like a naive sense. We all need stability. We all need to feel as if we can support ourselves, and I know that, but at the same time I'm like, I feel like I can have it all. I feel like I can be happy and pursue my dreams and talk about the things that I enjoy, and at the same time I can also find stability in my life. And the basis of this episode is going to be talking about the importance of living your life for you regardless of the opinions. Because I've been having a lot of conversations in my day-to-day life where I've been speaking with people that I care about, and they've been talking about how they can't choose a different path because they're already so far down the line, or they're already so invested, or they're already like older and they feel like they can't do it because like there's not enough time left. And I feel like I kind of come off as naive to some people when I do these things, like talk about spirituality or like start a podcast or make YouTube videos. I feel like some people just don't get it. And at the same time, I understand that we've been so programmed to just like seek stability and security, and I want that too. Like there's a part of me that's still living so desperately in survival mode, and as much as I'm trying to deprogram that and just trust that regardless of where I find myself in life, like I'm going to be supported and it's going to be okay, finding myself in these moments of like I also want to be happy, and I also want to be emotionally fulfilled, and I just can't go to work and go through the motions and then wake up the next day and do it again and like only have a select few hours to do what I want to do and create the life that I want to create. And I'm under the impression that you can accept your current you can accept your current circumstance as it is. You don't need to throw away all of the stability and security, and you don't need to just be like, to fuck with it, like I'm just gonna go and do that thing, you know? Like you can live the life that you're living now, and you can take steps towards literally being who you want to be, you know? And I feel like a lot of us think that that's not an option. It's either like you're all in on your dreams, or you're all in on this like everyday kind of going with the motions life. And that's not true, you know? And I've been talking a lot lately with the people close to me about how we seem to tell ourselves that life is so short, you know? And it's truly not. Life is so long, and that's why you need to live a life that you're excited about. That's why you need to live a life that you feel emotionally fulfilled. And at the same time, you can look for those things in your life that bring you stability, that bring you happiness, that bring you comfort on this 3D realm. But at the end of the day, if you're not doing things that set your soul on fire, you are not living. And I know that like I've gotten sucked into this kind of, I just need to get a good job, and I just need to work hard and retire, and then I can be happy. Then I can live the life I want to live. Then I can travel, you know, all the things. And I've got sucked into that, and I actually manifested the job I have now, and I was like, I want a full-time job where I make X amount of money, and I feel confident, and I feel like I'm doing something with my life, and I feel like I'm moving forward. And then I got that. That manifestation came to fruition for me. And as grateful as I am to be in the position that I'm in right now, and as grateful as I am to kind of see things how I see them and live in this world that I live in right now, as grateful as I am for that, you know, I'm not excited about it. I'm not happy about it. I'm just going through the motions. I'm just accepting the fact that I have some form of stability. And I felt like for the longest time, I thought that this is what was going to make me happy, because I've lived a lot of my life where I placed a lot of my worth in making other people around me proud. And as proud of me as they are, I don't feel happy, you know? And I talk about it, and I'm like, I'm really grateful for the opportunity, and I talk about it with people that I'm close to. I'm like, I'm really grateful for the opportunity, but I'm just not happy, and like, this isn't where I want to be. And at the end of the day, it's like, okay, they come back to me and they're like, well, sometimes you just have to do things that you don't want to do, and sometimes you just have to be where you don't want to be, and you just have to suck it up. And like, that's not a life I want to live, you know? Like, why have we been so conditioned to accept and settle for things that make us unhappy? I was gonna use the word miserable, but I feel like that's a little bit intense. I'm not miserable. Like, I'm still doing things that I want to do. I'm still making videos. I'm still recording podcast episodes. You know, I'm still doing things that I want to do. But I feel like if I wasn't doing this, and if I wasn't actively pursuing this, and I was just giving into this like 9-to-5 kind of security culture, I would be so fucking miserable. And I feel like for me, I need a creative outlet. I need some way to share my voice. I'm really passionate about the things that I speak about, whether it be on YouTube or whether it be on the podcast. I just love self-growth, and I love learning about myself, and I love learning about my trauma and why I am the way I am, and I love helping people in the process of like figuring out what that means for me, and in turn what that means for them. But I think a lot of the time, and myself included, I found myself living my life seeking the approval of others, like get a good job, move out, be stable, be secure, and like then you'll be happy, then people will be proud of you, like it'll all work out that way. And I accept the fact that, like, that's a valid thought process. Like, a lot of us go to school and we work really hard to appease our parents and to get their approval. And I totally understand why our parents want us to go to school and get a good job and go through the motions. I totally get it. Because from their perspective, they just want us to be secure. They just want us to be taken care of. They just want us to feel comfortable. But at the end of the day, I want to feel comfortable and I want to feel stable, but I also want to be happy. And I look around me and there's not a single person's life in my immediate circle that I want. Not in my friends, not in my family. Like, it's just not what I want. Because it's just like they're all so succumb to the security and the false security that they're given by exchanging their time and happiness for money. And like, I don't want to be like, don't get a job, don't support yourself. Like, I know we all need to make money, you know what I mean? But I feel like we don't need to do that at the expense of ourselves. And more across the collective, people are just realizing that they just want to be happy and they just want to live a life that makes them happy. And maybe the life you're living in right now isn't giving that to you. I can attest to the fact that, like, in my everyday life, like, I'm not super excited about everything that's going on. Like, I'm very grateful for the opportunity. I'm very grateful that this manifestation came through for me. It's what I asked for. It's what I wanted. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, this isn't what I want forever. And I think we can accept that and we can look at it and be like, this is not what I want and this is not what's setting my soul on fire. And if I know what that is, I can live in this current reality where I'm like going through the motions and I'm working this job and I'm being secure and I'm having stability, and I can also work towards what actually makes me happy. And I feel like a lot of the time we don't allow ourselves to do that because we feel trapped in this current reality we're living in. And I've got sucked into that. I'm just like, now I'm just here and I don't have the time to work on what I want, and but like at the end of the day, you can accept your current reality for what it is and be so excited about your future. And your future does not have to mirror your current reality. Like, you don't need to stay in a job that makes you feel miserable. Like, you can work this job and you can do that and you can work towards what's actually going to make you feel happy, whether it's starting a business or going back to school or finding a different job within what you went to school for. Like, there's so many different options, and I feel like a lot of the time we allow ourselves to get into this trapped mindset of like, there's nowhere for me to go and I'm already here, so I might as well just stay. That is not true. And I feel like a lot of the time people use age as an excuse too. It's like, there's no time like the present, and stop acting like the future is fleeting for you. Like, it can be anything you want it to be. And we've been so programmed to like be like, oh, I don't have enough time, or like, I'm already so old, or whatever. It's how you see it. Like, there's people that are like 65 that went back to school and are now doing what they want to do. Like there's so much time left, and I feel like we put ourselves in these boxes to make ourselves feel like this is all we can do and this is the best we can have, and that's not true. How you perceive yourself is how the world shows up for you. Like, I go to work every day and I'm like, okay, I'm at work right now. I'm doing my best here, but then I get to go home and I get to research and I get to read and I get to record podcast episodes and I get to record YouTube videos and I get to talk about how I'm bettering myself and I get to share that with the world, and I get to be like, okay, this is what I'm doing. If you're in the same boat, like, trust that you're gonna be fine. Okay, I understand that's a little intense on this spiritual journey, but like, I feel like it's my purpose and it's my joy in life to, one, set myself free from these limiting beliefs and shackles that I placed on myself, and two, remind you guys that there's so much opportunity for you to be everything you could ever dream. And I feel like when we keep ourselves stuck and stagnant in these boxes and we don't allow ourselves to be like, I can do this and I'm going to go do this and it's going to be great. I feel like we kind of shackle ourselves to the present moment because this is what's familiar. This is what's we're comfortable with. And there's a fear in going after what you want. There's a fear of failure. There's a fear of people judging you. And I'll be honest, like, in my everyday life, like, I think I have, like, one friend who's actively supportive of everything that I'm doing, and she, like, texts me, and she's like, I'm so proud of you, and, you know, like, but that's one person. That's one person in my massive close circle of friends that it's like radio silence, you know? Like, and I'm the type of person that, like, needs validation, and not, like, in the sense of, like, please make me feel worthy, but just like in the sense of like one of my love languages is words of affirmation, and I rarely get that in my everyday life, except for this like one or sometimes occasionally two. It rarely happens with the second person. But what I will say is like having this dream and going for the things you want, it's lonely. But it's almost worse to continue to live your life for other people. And it's like, the only way I can describe it is like, if you don't got your back, then why would anybody else want to? You know what I mean? It's like if I gave up because nobody was reassuring me that like what I was doing was awesome, like if I can't give that to myself and I can't be excited about my life and the things that I'm offering to the world, then like why the heck would I expect people to do the same, you know? And what I will say is, like, if you make the choice to go after the things you want and accept the fact that you deserve to live a life that you're excited and happy about, when you take that step, you don't know who's watching you. You don't know who you're inspiring. You don't know who you're waking up to every day. And they're like, damn, if she can do it, I can do it. And I think that's what reminds me to keep going, even in those moments of, like, literal radio silence, except for one person. And you know exactly who you are, and I love you so much. Thank you so much for being so kind and supportive to me, because I appreciate it more than you would ever know. But what I will say is, like, that's what keeps me going, is that knowledge of, like, sure, there's radio silence for the most part, and, like, there's little whisperings of, like, hey, that's pretty cool, or, like, good for you for doing that, or good for you for trying, even though, like, there's, like, minute moments that the majority of this journey that I'm on is like a radio silence, you know? And I feel like I'm being a little bit dramatic in the sense of like, people do support me, you know what I mean? Like my dad, I told him that I wanted to make YouTube videos, and the next day he's like, oh, well my friend had this camera, and if you want it, like, people do try in their own way, and I don't want to diminish the people in my life that are doing their best to love me and support me, you know what I mean? But just to like keep me going is like, I don't know who I'm inspiring to do the things I want to do, whether it be the same thing I'm doing, or whether it be starting a business, or whether it be, you know, it's just like life's short, but it's so long, and I feel like it's so much longer if you're living a life that you're not excited about. And at the end of the day, if you trust that you're going to be supported and protected, and it's all going to work out, because it always does, and everything is always working out for you, and if you reflect on the things in your life in which you used to be stressed out about, I guarantee you can look back and be like, oh, that worked out. Like, everything was fine. And I know it's scary to, like, go after it and be like, oh, people are going to judge me, people are going to care. This might be a really morbid mindset, but like, we're all gonna end up 6 feet under. So you might as well give your human the chance to do everything that sets their soul on fire. And those dreams that you have, they're literally programmed in you as your divine purpose. That is what you're supposed to be doing. If you're excited about something and you want to go after it, you're supposed to be doing that. You're supposed to be pursuing and encouraging the things that make you so, so happy. And that gets lost in translation in everyday society, because we're chasing that security. We want the stability. But at the end of the day, stability is nothing if you're unhappy. Like, I could be the richest person in the world, and I could go to work, and I could have a good retirement plan, and I could have a good pension, but if I'm unhappy in my everyday life, then I refuse to give up there. You know, like, even if well, I know this is gonna work out for me, but like, even if you're going after something and you're like, it's never gonna work, but like, does it make you happy when you do it? Like, do those things for you and start with you, because it's so important to do things just simply because you want to, not because of what the outcome can bring you, not because of the expectation of what the life could look like, but simply because it makes you feel better. And that's why it's so important to live your life for you and give up on the opinions of other people, because one, there's either going to be radio silence on your support system, and that's going to be hard to deal with, and that's going to be like so discouraging sometimes, because you're like, I just want people to support me, and like, these people know how bad I want this, like, why can't they support me? A lot of the time it's because they're looking at you and they're like, wow, like, they're doing it and I'm over here not doing it. And a lot of the time it's like ego based, and it's like, I'm not gonna say anything because like, they're going after their dreams and I'm not going after mine. And like, it kind of triggers people when you choose to go after it, regardless of what anyone else's opinion is or regardless of the outcome. It's important to know that you've got this, whether people are supporting you or not. And so that is the importance of living your life on your own terms, giving up on the opinions of others, because at the end of the day, this is your life, this is your happiness, and everything is always going to work out for you exactly as it's supposed to. And if you're getting these inclinations to go after the things that set your soul on fire, now is the time. Don't wait until 5 months down the line. You don't know what can happen in 5 months. The time is going to pass anyway. Set your soul on fire. Get excited about your life because you deserve it, okay? 1, you deserve it, and 2, you don't know who needs you to share your voice and to shine your light. So that is what I will say on this. I hope that it resonated with you. I hope that it inspired you. I hope that it brought you some sort of peace and clarity and joy. And if you're watching on YouTube, if you would like to subscribe and join our ever-growing little healing family, I would love to have you. If you're listening wherever you listen to podcasts, if you want to save it and come back to us next week, I would love to hang out with you again. And I'm so excited to have you guys here on the healing journey. So if this was my first and last time seeing you, hanging out with you, thank you so much. I love you. Happy healing. Take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself. And for everyone who's sticking around, if you're on YouTube, I will see you on Friday. And if you're just listening on the podcast, I will see you next week for a whole new episode. And yeah, if you want to join the YouTube fam, go subscribe to my YouTube channel below as well. It should be linked in the description of wherever you listen to your podcast. So I'll see you guys next week. I love you so much and take care of yourself. Bye guys. Thank you.